to the outside. He can't get there. Kevin King is going to win the Barbizzo FTF Cup Series.
Into the lead. Bud gets wrecked in front of the pack. He saves it. 3-4 wide as they come to the white flag.
Here comes Vargas down on the apron. They are 5 wide. Ian Plash will win it at the line. Is this package? Oh, there goes Jordan Lopez Jr. That's your race leader. Caution flag is out.
Still no one willing to give up as they're going to be dead even off of the first chicane.
Oh, he saves it. What's going to happen here? Here comes the canvas.
Get your front there.
He's got it. He's got it. Get there. No.
Canvas is going to win.
Winiecki fought back at Crandon, and thanks to a tiny handful of bonus points, he narrowly leads the championship. But the smaller confines of Crandon Short will now open up, and the power of these trucks will be unleashed as we get ready to watch round 3 of the iRacing Short Course Regional Series. We'll see it all live here on FTF.gg. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and joining me in the booth is the voice of off-road, Dave Arnold. Behind the scenes is our producer, Zach Johnson. Well, Dave, we come here to Bark River where things get just a little bit faster this time.
Oh, yeah. Bark River brings so much excitement, a lot of high speed, a lot of big high-speed sweepers, which I really love to see these guys drifting around the corners. I think it's going to make for some great racing. Great to see Bark River part of iRacing now.
Absolutely. And for the championship tonight, as we said, it is currently Winiecki who is leading right now over Paul Mikolajic, but it is only a scant 10 points between them currently. Kirchmeier been kind of trailing on them a bit at this point, but it looks like it is going to remain a tight fight from what we've seen in the first 2 rounds. We'll see if that changes up here today with this being just a slightly different track than those before. Looks like the fastest times in the qualifying that we have is Timothy Messimer currently, Paul Mikolajic in the 2nd spot, and you have to go down to 3rd to get to Kody in there. What are some of the different challenges compared to what we saw in the previous weeks with Crandon Short and with Wild West, Dave, that this one is going to throw them for a loop?
Well, it's such a high-speed, track, but it's got a lot of jumps. They're going to be in the air quite a bit. There's a lot of undulations, meaning a lot of movement and rolls in the track. And you really have to keep that truck from getting too unsettled to hold your lines there. And I think that's where it's going to be. As we're watching right now, you can see that little step up and little hole in the middle. It really unsettles the truck. So you got to watch how the guys, but you don't want to leave that inside open too often, because this track with the high speed, that could be your knife that takes you out.
So everybody's really got to be careful on this one. And it looks like Winiecki actually went a little faster on his 2nd timed lap. So he's up to 2nd. Now, remember, they will have heats on this one. And it's going to be a case of 4 heats, 4 laps each. And the top 3 are supposed to advance on this one. And they will invert the top 4 on these heats. So while you might get pole here in the timing, you are going to be set back a little bit to keep things interesting and keep the drivers on their toes. But I'm sure being able to qualify as high as you can is still going to be important so that you wind up in a good heat and a good split amongst the drivers as we watch the 9 of Kody come around the last few corners here, 10, 11, and 12, before he gets to the finish line.
Yeah, it's really great to see Winiecki and, of course, Paul Mikolajic really starting to come into it. We watched them over the last year into this year to see these guys really start to progress in their driving, and I'm getting excited seeing these drivers all coming to, I'd say, a higher skill level.
Just a few minutes left, actually less than that, about 15 seconds left in our qualifying. And I think most everybody has set a time. So it looks like our qualifying order is set. We just have to wait for it to populate the various splits for these heats. And then we are ready to go for round 3 here today. I always look forward to this one because this is definitely one of the more unique circuits that iRacing has on offer. And our first heat sees Daniel Solo on the pole position. Wes Graham will start in second and cross Kirchmeier in P3. Messimer will start from fourth with Dennis Crosby in the fifth position. Brent Smith is sixth and James Truman seventh. After that, it'll be Richard Swavely to his outside in eighth, Nick Queen ninth, and Nathan Kirchner rounding out our 10 drivers competing in this one. So it is only 3 to the feature automatically if you missed it, but we will have last chance qualifiers to try and make it in if you don't manage it there before. But we line up, and as compared to last week where we had the land rush start, even though it was the short version of the circuit, this time they actually have the traditional rolling start.
Yeah, and I really like the land rush. It's always great, but I think getting this rolling start always makes some exciting racing. And that's one of the things that these guys are really going to be fighting for it. And you're going to get that timing on that start just perfect, because only 3 are going to the dance. Everybody's going to the LCQ, like you mentioned. So it's going to be a real dogfight coming in there.
Yeah, exactly. It's less than a third of the drivers in this heat that are automatically through. That's a pretty small percentage. And they're going to get a little bit of pep talk from race control before we get going. So they'll let them know what's going on, what's expected of them. Now, one thing you missed last week, Dave, that thankfully we won't have to repeat is, well, we had our first night race at Crandon.
Yes. Made for interesting racings from what I heard.
Yes, it definitely did. I was impressed with the drivers adapted as well as they did, but it was a small clerical error. We got it worked out in the end, and this week we'll be able to race in the day here up in Michigan, in the Upper Peninsula. They'll take a partial pace lap here, so we don't have to wait for them to go fully around, and then they will be released by the pace truck and sent on their way. Only 4 laps. These are one of the longer laps that you'll see on the short course circuit that you can run here on iRacing. So hence why we have so few of them to try and set our feature advancing drivers as they now take off on this pace lap. I know one thing that I've seen in the past here for this circuit, Dave, is that first jump after the start-finish line always seems to cause some chaos with the way it kind of veers off to the right. Are we worried about rollovers for that?
Well, I know, and of course the damage that's being reported now, they're going to have a lot more damage to these vehicles here that are going to be causing a lot of effect. So hopefully these drivers keep that in the back of their minds when they're going through that first turn. But you know what? They're going to be going for it, though. I think it's going to make for an interesting race for sure. Can they keep off the damage? It looks like they're going to get ready to get this one rolling.
Yep, so the pace truck is off, but they will wait until the start line here. Now, when they do the feature race, when we have the competition caution, they will start where that truck peels off. But for now, they are going at the start-finish line that they score the laps at here in this race. And they're trying to hustle their way over there with the 913 definitely trying to hurry them up. Hopefully doesn't accidentally jump the start here, but there is the green flag, and they are on their way as they jump up and over the big leap here into turn 1. And so far, so good. Oh, but somebody flicks off to the left-hand side. That's Messimer.
Well, the crazy thing is it's really reminiscent of the way Crandon is, the way that land rush start, the way they come in there. It's that slight right-hand turn. There's a lot of high speed there, and Messimer had that problem. He got caught up in there. We've seen that several times at Crandon as well as here at Park River.
Kirchmeier now fighting for that second position with Wes Graham, but they're both in advancing positions right now as behind. A little bit of a fight between Nick Queen and Dennis Crosby. Crosby gets edged out of the way, and ooh, they are bouncing everywhere. The trucks look a little finicky tonight, honestly.
Yeah, it looks like people are, struggling with a little bit of setup. They're trying to figure it out.
Not sure if the new build also included change of the handling of the trucks as well. For those not familiar with iRacing, they release a new build. They update the sim 4 times a year, and this was the latest one here, the start of December. Hence why the new damage model, where you'll see some body parts flying off, being added to these trucks, which is, I would say, a much-needed feature for this style of racing. And as we complete lap 1, it is Solo, Kirchmeier, Queen, your top 3.
Well, and I think that's one of the great things you brought up there about damage. You're not playing Grand Theft Auto out there trying to bash into everybody. This is racing. This is a sim of real race car drivers. And you got to keep it and drive smart and drive clean. Yeah, you're going to lean on somebody. This is short course, but you don't want to take them out.
Exactly. And you want to try and keep the car as together as you can. Now they can lose tires off of these things, as well as the various body parts, which before they could, but you just couldn't see them fly off. Now you at least have the visual as they head around turns 5 and 6 once again. And Queen is barely holding on. Brent Smith getting awful close to that transfer spot.
Yeah, Brent and that Kyle LeDuc memorial wrap on there. It's so great to see, that running out there. Brent, of course, one of the announcers for the Championship Off-Road Racing Series. Great to see him out here having some fun. I know his twin brother Brock also will be qualifying here in a little bit.
But over the jumps, the whoops here, coming through the last few corners. He manages to get to the inside, but can't quite get there as they fly over the jump once again to start lap 3 now. Smith still looking left and right, trying to find some way to get past that number 48 around the long turn 2. This is a very, very fast, long left-hander leading onto a critical acceleration zone.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I got to say, it's great to see the old Rockstar, the monster battle going on again. I know Kyle's brother Todd drove for Rockstar for a time when Kyle was still with Monster, so this is like a very familiar battle seeing, and it's great. But right now, Brent's that one step off of qualifying, so he's going to turn it up there and try to find his way around Queen. But Queen, run those tight lines.
Trying to cover him off as best as he can. Doing a good job so far. You can see some of that loose body work that we were talking about. Love how that looks on these trucks now. Just adds that little bit of realism. Once again, keeping it nice and down to the inside of every corner possible. That number 48. But there he goes a little bit wide, using the banking now into the last couple corners. 10, 11, and 12. Triple left-hander with a wall all around the outside. This time a little bit farther ahead of Brent, but not by much.
Yeah, it's great seeing those bedsides just flapping in the wind there as they go. That's a realism. Oh, mistake by Smith as he goes off the track there. That's going to put him back a little bit far with the final lap. I think it's pretty much he's delegated to go into that LCQ. Queen looks like he's going to hold on to it, but I don't think anything short of a miracle will make that happen for Brent Smith right now.
Yeah, Nick is probably breathing a sigh of relief after that one, but he still has to bring it home. It is possible to make a bit of an error and open up the door once again. Ahead of them, Solo and Kirchmeier have just been running away with things. I don't think they've been fighting too much as you see them on screen now, as they both know all they need here is the points and the advancing spots, both of which they have plenty.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And, of course, we're going to see a plenty out of going to the LCQ. But, top 3, looks like it's going to make it happen now as the checkered flag comes out. Solo's going to come across, and then Kirchmeier. It looks like Queen's going to probably get that last spot more than likely.
Yeah, he's sitting pretty now that he was able to pull away, and Solo takes the first win of the night in Heat 1. Kirchmeier second. Queen will take the last advancing position as Brent Smith will head off to the last chance qualifier. Looks like Truman's going to beat Crosby. That was a very fierce fight behind them as you look at the results. Graham as well, and all below will be heading off into that LCQ. And that takes us to our second heat now. And that one sees Keenan Cusin on the pole position with Ryan Lidner in the second spot. Thad Countryman will begin in P3. Kody Winiecki, our points leader, starts 4th. After that, Tommy Donahue will be P5 and Dustin Price in 6. Austin Bolson starts 7th. He'll be followed by Byron Honea in the 8th spot. Last row sees Robert Kahn and Nathan Ramsey finishing out your 10 drivers. Well, that was an interesting start to things, Dave. It looked like eventually they did get the trucks under control, but it did seem like a few were caught out with the start of the race.
Well, I think you mentioned already, that you've seen it before in this track here, that first turn, getting a lot out of control. Well, I think we're going to see it again. It's tough when you know that you got 10 trucks in the field, only 3 of them are going to go. Sometimes you start getting a little desperate because if you don't get up front right away, it's difficult to make your way through the pack because all these drivers are so evenly matched.
Do you see many opportunities here to try and make overtakes, or the fact that it's a fast circuit, does it make it harder out there?
I think it makes it harder 'cause it's such a fast track, circuit basically, or track, as you said. One of the things that, you got to almost force somebody into mistake, get up in the inside. If they leave that door open, you got to put your foot in it.
That's what we saw Queen covering off those little openings there
Yep.
before and successfully keeping Smith behind. So will we get a similar situation, or will drivers be able to get maybe a little bit more side by side? As someone pulling out a line there in the background? Not sure. I think that was, oh, that is Dustin Price. So he's been given an EOL penalty as he lets everybody through. So he'll start from the back. Speaking of having trouble trying to come from the back of the field, he's got it the absolute worst, as opposed to Keenan Kusin, who was a little bit miffed, we understood, from the race 2 at Crandon. Hopefully he's gotten over some of the aspects of that and is ready to try and compete once again, especially from the top spot with this regrid.
Yeah, that's got to be tough to pill to swallow. So you got to be a little angry. Okay, I got to look for redemption. So that's going to be in your head first and foremost when you hit the track for the first time again after that.
So they once again now pace themselves without the truck in front of them. And it'll be Keenan Kusin in control of this one. Lindner to his outside. Last time it was mostly okay around that first corner, although we did see, I think it was Kirchmeier run off to the side, or Messimer, one of those that just got flicked off, unfortunately, right through that swift left or right-hander. Will they all be able to do that for this group? Up and over the whoops and towards the start-finish line with that block wall to the outside to keep everybody nice and reined in. And it's an early start for the 03 of Kusin. Behind him, it's a battle for second as Linder's going to try and cover off Countryman into the first turn.
Yeah, it looks like got a little bit of net coating going on with Linder's there. It's going to be interesting. He's in and out there, those red wings disappearing. But you can see it's such a fast track. It's so hard to really make a pass without forcing the issue. You got to get up and you got to block. And there's a nice move going in there. And there's one of the first passes I've really seen that has stuck so quickly. And it looks like that turn 3 was one that makes it magic.
And no surprises, that was Winiecki, our points leader. So he's
Yeah.
making quick work of this regrid, trying to get back up to the front. He should have started from the pole of this group, but with the top 4 being reversed, he's at least into the advancing spots. Does he try and push farther from here?
Yeah, and that's a tough question. I think he's going to make some moves that are going to be, obvious. And it's tough when a guy's blinking out on you. You're not going to know where he's at. Now you got to wonder, is the damage, going to come into play if somebody blinks and all of a sudden they appear? You're basically in their door.
Exactly. And unfortunately, one of the unique oddities that comes with sim racing, the one thing I haven't quite figured out a metaphor translation from real racing, but we check out some of our onboards as they come over the leaps down into the swift left-hander, long left-hand turn, and down to the inside once again. Winiecki, I think this is exactly what he did on the first lap, and it works exactly the same,
Yep.
overtaking Lindner.
Same exact turn. I'll tell you, that turn is the magic. And that's one of the places that you see a lot of passing in real life, too. It just seems to me if you get a good setup, someone leaves enough for a truck with, you're going to get in there.
Ooh, looks like Nathan Ramsey is our first victim of the little overhang there that you have on the jump. He kind of got loose, hit the side of it, and the truck obviously smoking. His day is over for this heat. He's going to come back in the LCQs and have to fight from way back in the pack.
Yeah, that's the quickest engine damage I've seen, only going into the second lap right there. That damage really is starting to show there. Great shots of these drivers. They're sitting with their sims. Really loved that one earlier. There's a great shot there. You can see how focused he is right now.
Keenan Kusin, who we're watching. Not sure if he's still streaming. I know he was doing many days of streaming. Okay, so I am hearing that Keenan is still streaming. And as that's going on, he's going to lose the lead. Kody is once again getting a pass per lap done. Next time, he's got to have nobody left to pass.
Well, I don't think Winiecki had to really take any chances there. He made that look rather easy. He didn't have to force the issue. Unfortunately, they left the door right open for him.
I got to wonder if anybody watching in the next two heats is taking notes and thinking, all right, well, if he can do that easily, surely I can make something happen.
Yeah, I mean, he pretty much he's done it the same spot every time.
So now he
driver's lines.
Now he takes off from Keenan, obviously putting some distance. And I'm getting word that Keenan is on day 62 of streaming. He's taking donations that will extend the hours he's streaming. Now he does stop to eat and sleep and whatnot, but he's been going for a long time. I don't even know how many hours at this stage as we hit the white flag, but he's holding out and clearly hasn't lost any speed because of this endurance run of his. Is behind him. Lindner goes off track, and once again, the third place truck loses the advancing spot late in the race.
You can see a flat tire and broken suspension on the left side right there. There's issue. You can see that tire flapping up and down, but you can see there's very low on air pressure there. That's pretty much going to end it for him, I think.
Wonder if that's again part of the new damage model, that maybe it models the suspension wear and tear a little bit differently from before, and drivers have to be gentle on these things to try and hold them out to the end. We'll get some information from them once we get an interview, but right now Kody continues to lead the way, although he takes quite a bit of berm.
Yeah, that's not where he wanted to put the truck, that's for sure. Now, this is merely making me think about a lot of the other tracks, how this is going to come into play. We're already seeing the damage. This track has a lot of bumps. You can see right there, truck gets settled quite a bit up, and you're always on the side load here. And that could be a big factor later on as we watch the main event with a lot of vehicles.
That's a good point. And Kody takes the win, with Keenan Kusin finishing in second and Thad Countryman advancing through as the last one. He's going to pick that up on the last lap as Bolson, Donahue, Price, Honea, Kahn, Lindner, and Ramsey are all going to the LCQ after this one. We're waiting, I think, for a last finisher, potentially. Ramsey, looks like he used his spare truck, actually. Yeah, so he's going to manage to finish up. They do have one waiting in pit lane if they wind up damaging themselves too much. So it still didn't help him overall as he smacks the wall and takes a bit of bodywork off. That takes us to the third heat now. Aiden Irvin is on the pole for this one, and Joey Herbie will be in P2. Then on row 2, you've got Cole Fisher, flanked by Paul Mikolajic. Brock Hammer starts in 5th. After that, it's going to be Jeremy DeWett in the 6th spot, Trey Blank in P7, Christopher McCorkle in the 8th spot, and then Devin Frank and Jake Hill, the last two of this grid. Yeah, I'm going to keep my eyes peeled because that's really interesting if the cars are a little bit more vulnerable to a wrong landing or too much abuse or punishment, Dave, because like you said, that changes your method of driving.
Well, it's going to change in a lot of the tracks. You know, these guys are going to have to really start getting, I think, more of a game plan going into this now. And the lines are definitely going to change in some of those. And I'm thinking, you know, not so much Wild Horse Pass, but Reno I'm thinking of. More that coming off the turnstile. The guys would get so out of shape up there. Man, those trucks, they just don't hold up to some of that violent, you know, slamming they do in real life. I think they've taken that into a factor now here in iRacing.
Once again, just improving on the realism and the accuracy of how the drivers race this versus racing the real thing.
Love
Aiden Irvin. Yeah, Aiden, me too. Aiden Irvin hopefully is going to be able to hold that pole position. Remember, top 4 are inverted, so Mikolajic theoretically should have been the pole position, would be the fastest of them if that qualifying pace is accurate. And last time, and this is the other interesting thing to me that was so different, I don't think we had a driver charge forward like that in the first one, Dave. So it seemed like drivers were a little bit either more content, or maybe the qualifying had been shuffled around a little bit. Which are we going to get here? Is Paul going to be able to push up to the top, or is it going to be more like the first one?
Yeah, that's going to be a question. You know, everybody pretty much stayed status quo in the race 1, but 2, we really saw, you know, him move right up through the field. He was just picking him off. That one turn every time was a nice setup for him.
So Is that also something that Paul was watching as well? Was he making
True.
sure that he'll have opportunities, or will he make sure he has opportunities down into the left-hander? Ooh, and they're getting backed up here coming through the last couple corners. Out of 11 and 12, green flag is out, and we accelerate away. Irvin with a big jump, and he's bringing along Cole Fisher, who saw that jump happening and got on the throttle at the right time as they come off of two or into the left-hander here. They're going to spread out, and it's a battle for the lead.
Yeah, and there's a great spot right there, and he's keeping it down right on the cushion. You want to be up there. You want to keep it tight because you don't want that repeat that we saw in race number 2. Logic, though, I think is going to start seeing, all right, I saw what's going on. I can see Handmer, who's a real-life Pro 2 driver that we see. Great to see he's got those normal precise motorsports that he runs in real life on there. He must be loving driving a Pro 4. Whole nother animal than a Pro 2.
A little bit more grip, I imagine, out
Yeah.
there. And oh man, beating and banging now for second place. Aiden Irvin lost the lead to Cole Fisher there through turn 2. And now it looks like Brock Hammer is going to try and take it away from Aiden as well as he swings around the outside. Poor Mikolajic is fallen down to 6. He is not charging forward like we thought. It is quite a bee's nest back from second on.
Oh, yeah, definitely. These guys are all battling here, and it's really shocking that Paul is just sitting back there. Maybe he's like, all right, you know, with the damage on, I can't really push it like we would in the past.
Whoa!
Oh! There's
And
going to be some damage.
That's an easy spot for Paul because that's Joey Herbie, who is off the course. And yeah, you can see the left front wheel is toast. He has to come to a halt. He could probably take that spare car, but again, will likely finish among the last of the drivers as they bound over the leaps once again, and some of them still getting very greedy on some of the berms.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing. Good way to put it there, getting really greedy on the berms. You can't smack these trucks like you used to. You really got to drive smart on there. You got to be precise.
So Irvin's managed to hold on to second. Brock has been pushed back once again, but Mikolajic has gathered himself up. This is him on Brock Hammer now for that third position. And again, this is perhaps more important than the win because that third spot is the last one automatically through.
Yeah, I can see Handmer staying a little line. He's trying to push Mikolajic out there. Mikolajic's answering back, leaning on him just a little bit there. But Brock is not going to have it. It's going to be a run up here, though. We go into this right-hander, though.
77 up into the air, hitting side to side. Somehow they're going to get away with it. But Paul is trying to ride the rim to get around the outside. Now he cuts back underneath in the left-hander. This is where we've seen most of those passes done all night long. Doesn't quite execute in the same manner. He's still side by side. He's not out of it.
Yeah, he's trying to keep that inside line, but Hamner was trying to cut him off each time there. Very smart driving by Brock. Hammer, though, he knows racing strategy. He's been around now for 2 years in real life, and boy, he's been used to a lot of some of the best have thrown it at him.
Once again, he swings a little wide, though. He opens the door. This time it's Paul's turn to just kind of nudge him out of the way, and that's going to finally get him ahead. 77 now into the transfer spot. Will Brock fight back?
Oh, I think Brock is going to definitely fight back on that now. He's going to say, all right, I saw you using that inside on me. Let's see if we can get it back. But a little bit of mistake there. Shaved some speed off. Oh, just getting out of shape. Really losing time. Hitting the wall. Wow, he's frustrated now.
But Paul's disappeared on us. He must have had some sort of connection problem. I don't see an official message yet. So this puts Brock back into third. Let's hope that Paul can reconnect. That'll be a real shame after he fought so hard. But last lap, this is it. 1 to go.
Well, Hammer's now in that position here on the final lap. That's for sure. Blank, McCorkle, Frank, and Hill, DeWitt. You know, they're still in it. Unfortunately, Herbie and Mikolajic out.
Fisher and Irvin still well up ahead with that fighting between Hammer and Paul. So that has put them in a very safe position. Blank also trying to keep up with Brock Hammer. As you can see him in the red truck trailing behind the 657 machine. And less than half a lap to go now. He doesn't have much time. I don't think he's close enough.
No, he's pretty much running out of time there. You know, we're pretty close to that checkered flag. But Hammer's just got to settle down now. He was starting to, get out of control, trying to catch up to Mikulajic, but I think he's going to be able to hold on to this one and make it happen.
Fisher taking the win as Irvin will finish second, and Brock Hammer, by the skin of his teeth, is going to be able to finish in the top three. Little bit of luck coming his way on that one. Blank going to be the first of those that doesn't automatically advance in the third heat. McCorkle, Frank, Hill, DeWitt, Mikulajic, and Herbie also will head to the last chance qualifier, which we're going to get to soon, but we will have one more to go with heat number 4 in a moment. It looks like we are still waiting on one more truck to come through. That was DeWitt, and Herbie is coming very slowly to the line, making us wait. There we go. Now Joey's crossed and makes it official. That means our next grid is set, and it is Colton Buchanan who takes the pole with Brock Smith in second. Oliver Golding will start from third, and Cameron Magashik will be fourth of the last of the regrids. Doug Betts starts in fifth. Christian Noble in sixth. Inside of the next row sees Jason Bryant, flanked by Solomon Borschinger. Lance Elkin starts ninth, and then it is Patrick Sawilo in the 10th position. All right, once again, we get them all racked up and ready to go. We've seen bigger groups than this racing in this series, but it certainly seems like we've got plenty to keep it fun here tonight. Last chance, or last go at figuring out who is automatically in the feature. Of these drivers that we see lined up, who are you looking at is likely to make it through here, Dave?
I'm kind of pulling for Brock Smith. A little bit of a friend of mine, but I know he's putting a lot of time in the sim lately. I think he's going to be one to keep an eye on for sure.
All right, so that is the number 46 starting on the outside of that front row. He is within those transfer spots. We'll see if he can stay there by the end of this one. If you're just joining us,
hold on to it.
Yeah. If you're just joining us, it's the top 3 that you need to watch out for that will automatically go through to the feature race. We will still be drawing people from those last chance qualifiers when we get to them, but it's going to narrow down even more with, according to this, only one from each of the last chance qualifiers advancing through to the features. Not exactly a position you want to be in.
No, that's going to be tough because it's going to get physical. And with the damages on, when you go to the LCQ, it's going to be tough to get into that position. I know we're going to take a higher number out of that, but still, it's going to get physical.
So they prepare themselves. You can see the track also has been evolving quite a bit as they wear it in. Trying to see if we have any blue grooves starting to form in some of the corners, and I'm not seeing anything at the moment, but it is definitely getting drier and slicker there on the inside on the desired racing line. When they get to the feature, no doubt it will be pretty darn worn in on this circuit as they come around through 11 and into 12. Colton has control, and the green flag is out. The 202 accelerates away. Smith is already feeling some pressure, and he gets loose up over the jump. He catches it. The 46 keeps it going.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to try and do it and look a couple of the guys up into the grass there. And it looks like everybody's just picking their own lines, trying to fill the track out at this point. It's one of those things. You're going to follow somebody, you're not going to pass them. You got to create your own lines. You got to make it happen for yourself.
Magashik with a good run there through the first couple turns, moves himself into third. Golding gets demoted down into the 4th position. Over the big jump for the first time, you can see some of those body parts come off the trucks already just from hitting the ground. And then they swing back around once again. Magashik now on the attack of Brock. He wants to try and see if he can make himself even safer.
Yeah, it looks like Golding back in that 4th position, trying to hold off with Bryant and Betts. He's got a little bit of breathing room, but there is a gap up there to Magurshik, and it all depends if somebody's going to make a mistake in this position. You can see the different lines that everybody's trying to feel out on this track right now.
Yeah, we have to remember this is the first time that they've been able to run this in this condition. Yes, they were out in qualifying, but like I said, it had since evolved with the 3 other heats. So these drivers by this heat are coming in quite blind.
Yeah, and I think new lines start to develop too. You're going to see from each heat race to the main event. You're going to see guys starting to figure it out and watching the previous sessions, going, okay, that line seemed to work for me. Maybe I need to change it up a little bit.
Jason Bryant, unfortunately, with a bad landing, gets himself facing the wrong way in the second and third corner. He'll get it turned around, but he falls way behind. Right now, your advancing spots are Buchanan, Smith, Magashik, your top three. Golding is trying to play catch up, and with the way Cameron is poking his nose on Brock, he could have a good opportunity if those two start battling.
Yeah, that's one of the things. When you get into a battle like that, sometimes you lose sight where somebody's right behind you there, and if you guys, all right, I'm going to try a different, an outside move, leave the door open, kind of like, oh, almost happened there. That's going up on Smith.
Oh, and he cuts back underneath.
Oh.
I'm not sure that he's got the run. The banking saves the 46, but then he gets into the side of Buchanan, who gets loose himself. Things are tightening up. The top four are all together. It's a game of musical chairs, and only one of them will not make it.
Yeah, and these guys are getting out of shape quite a bit now. You can see they're starting to overdrive the trucks just a little bit. And you still got another lap to go before this is going to be called. These guys got to really keep smart there. Oh, contact! Gersha gets him outside of Smith.
I don't think they're racing with the head. They're racing with the heart right now. And as they get together once again, doors start to bang. Parts come off the trucks. And Golding says, here's my chance. Getting to the inside. The 46 once again almost loses it on the landing, but he gathers it back up. They're still together, still fighting.
Yeah, he was alligator tailing all over the place. Smith is really running that. Almost looked like a Pro 2 the way that thing's swishing back and forth.
Golding still stuck in fourth. He only needs the one position. Magashik not able to overtake Smith. He's been trying everything. He once again sticks his nose up the inside, almost elbows his way through as he forces his way past.
Beautiful move. Oh, Smith goes high. Contact. Here comes Golding. And it looks like Betts. Ah, man. Smith now back to fifth position. That was a rough one. He started overdriving. The white flag's out. One lap to go.
Oh, goodness. Brock sounding a little bit upset over the radio now, unfortunately, with the hard contact he received from some of the drivers. But Golding picking that one up and is now in the transfer spot, but he still has Betts behind him, so he's not out of the woods quite yet. What this did do is allow Buchanan to just run away laughing.
Yeah, definitely. Hey, guys, battle out behind me. I'm out of here.
He's got a gap of already about a second and a half over Magashik. Remember, this is only a 4-lap race. That's pretty impressive here at the start. Is climbing the inside berm. Cameron continuing to try and open up the track. Oh, but it looks like somebody's taking too much damage. And is that... couldn't quite make out who that was in the bright teal car. It looked like it was all out of sorts. Whoa, and more trucks coming together.
That's probably, looks like Smith there in the teal truck that's having the problems.
As they come to the line, Buchanan will win the final heat, and Golding actually takes second now. Magashik, something happened. He'll still advance, but he finishes third, just beating out Betts in the end. Not sure what caused that. I'll have to go and check and see if I can figure out what slowed him down. Everyone beyond that is now heading on to the last chance qualifiers. That includes Betts, Noble, Bershinger, Sawilo, Smith, Elkins, and Bryant, unfortunately. Oof. Well, that one got really interesting there, Dave.
Yeah, definitely. I'll tell you, these guys, like you said, they're driving a little bit more with their heart instead of their head. They start getting out of control, driving over their head, in fact.
Can't quite tell what happened to Cameron. As best I can tell, I think he may have gotten a slowdown penalty, maybe cut one of the inside of the corners a little bit too close or something, because he just kind of pulled off and slowed down a little bit, and it wound up costing him position, but at least he's still within the positions he wanted to be. As now Elkins finishes up the race and wraps this one up, meaning we head off to the first of our last chance qualifiers. In fact, we're going to have 3 of them. This one sees Christian Noble on the pole position and Brent Smith starting from second spot. Christopher McCorkle starts third and Dustin Price in fourth. Wes Graham starts P5 and Brock Smith in 6th. Then it's Jeremy DeWett in the 7th position. Nathan Ramsey, after he lost his engine in the first race, will start from 8th, and Timothy Messimer will be in the 9th spot. And they have inverted the top 2 according to what position they would have gridded in this one. So still getting the inverts even in the last chance qualifier, but essentially all this one means is the front row just kind of switches sides.
Yeah, that's all it does. Now you're inside instead of outside.
So we'll see if that makes that great of a difference. I mean, like I said, it looks like it has been updated. It was 1 to the feature. It is now 2 to the feature. So maybe those top 2 drivers should agree to work together a little bit here to avoid getting demoted.
Well, well, here's a problem. You got Brent Smith and you got Brock Smith, the twins. Do the twin powers come out? Do they activate?
That's a good question. I don't know if they have their rings with them, but we'll see. And Brock does have to do a bit of climbing to get to Brent.
Yes.
Remember, he's starting from 6 here. So as we've seen, it can be a little bit tough, but if there's some craziness in front of you, sometimes you can take advantage of that and kind of dash your way by some people to make up those spots easily and early on. But you can't count on it. You got to try and be fast as well as be safe out there. We'll see if Noble can do that from the pole position with Brent next to him. And there is the green flag. It is a good start for Christian as he's going to pull ahead of Brent Smith by the first corner. First car out, Dustin Price right now giving chase.
And it looks like everybody was thinking with their head this time when they're starting to drive, because they got a little physical in that last one. A couple of these guys just came out of that heat race, so it's going to be interesting to see how they fight it out coming around. But with only 4 laps and only 3 drivers going again, it's going to get physical here as these laps dwindle down.
Coming up and over the jump. They are pretty much single file quite quickly, much more single file than what we saw before, which surprises me in a last chance qualifier. Back of the field, though, now starting to heat up as a few drivers try and make some dives in and up towards the front. Now we're seeing that second place under attack. That is Dustin Price, who does nudge his rival out of the way, and a bad bounce on the landing for Brent Smith puts him well down.
And look who moves into third. It's Brock Smith, his brother, this position, though. Graham now separating the 2 Smith boys. But Noble pretty much running his own race now out there.
Noble's in a good spot, but it's only 4 laps, so they've got to try and catch him up quickly. They come over the jump here to start the lap once again. Big landing for both of them. Got to watch the way that suspension hits the ground. I get worried when they get a little too tilted in the air.
Yeah, we've already seen a lot of suspension damage come into play here. These guys are experiencing it for the first time this season. So, you know, I think they probably, okay, we saw a little bit in the qualifying or practice that they did early on. They probably have that in their head now. They're going, okay, I can't push that truck too much.
I have to admit, I'm impressed with Price making that move early and getting himself into second. It's gone back to single file right now, so maybe that will change, but it does look good for the 15 there in P2, the last one to advance as it sits currently. And Brock Smith behind them raised some tempers from other drivers as well. It wasn't just him feeling a little bit hard done by, as behind him some door banging between Wes Graham and Brent Smith. Brent's trying to come back at it.
Hey, I'll tell you, as long as you're side to side, you're not changing the attitude of the truck, it's perfectly fine to lean on somebody. That's what off-road racing and short course is all about. But you don't want to change the attitude of the vehicle. You don't want to pit maneuver them. You just got to lay it on them a little bit. You know, sometimes you turn it into a berm, sometimes you're the berm.
That's a good way of putting it. And this time it looks like Price might be the berm as he gets nudged off to the outside. Brock Smith manages to cut underneath. He has come from a long way back. 4 positions gained, and he's now in a transfer spot, although he's very loose coming up through the S's.
And this is what happened last time. He started getting pressurized. He started getting out of shape there a little bit, started overdriving. He's got to settle down. Oh! Price just stuck his nose right in there when Smith turned down on him. But unfortunately, he left a little bit too much room there. I think that's more on Brock than it was Price.
Dustin says, don't get comfortable. He snatches that one right back. So now Brock has to try his best to pull that move again at the same time that Brent Smith is starting to come back into things, who I have to imagine he is not a happy camper right now. He's going to be fired up.
Oh, definitely. The two Smith boys, though, are sitting one out of the qualifying position. So it's going to make it a little bit interesting. Brock and Brent. Price, I think he's got his sight set on Noble. He's going to go, okay. I used that inside line earlier. Let's see if I can set it up. Oh! Smith gets up on the bicycle, able to recover. Luckily didn't use much ground, though, on Smith. Actually, the gap increased a little bit, but he did lose the side of Price just a little bit.
He just needs one position, Brock does. Price loses on Noble, as you said. He looks very, very close. Maybe just got a bit out of sorts, as tight as he was behind that 9.46. This is the last lap of the last chance qualifier. If you don't finish in the top 2, you get no more racing tonight.
Yeah, that's difficult right now, and you're just one spot out there. Price gets off the bike. Here comes Smith underneath. A nice slide job. Fills the hole. Smith back to third. Here we go.
Smith is on the ball tonight. As soon as that opened up, he dashed through there, and now he is into second as once again they bang on each other to try and make some room. 4 wide just about coming through turn 9. It switches back around, and this time Brock Smith manages to hold his own. He's in the transfer spot. He gets touched a little bit, but he does not lose it, as Noble will take the win in the last chance qualifier. Brock Smith fights his way up from down in 6th position to advance.
What an incredible race there, Joe. I got to say, that actually was clean. All the contact was door to door.
I agree. That was fair racing and fantastic racing. And there is the results on this one as we now head off to the second last chance qualifier, where James Truman will be starting on the pole position. Austin Bolson will be in second next to him, as Solomon Borschinger will be third and Devin Frank fourth. Then it's Brian Honea in the 5th spot, Nathan Kirchner in 6th, and Cameron Magashik 7th. Joey Herbie and Ryan Linder round out the 9 trucks in this one. That was a high bar set on that first one,
yes.
Dave.
It was one of the best LCQs I've seen in a long time, and it didn't turn into a bank fest, or a bash fest, that's for sure. They say rubbing's racing, but sometimes these LCQs get a little physical. Turns into a little MMA on the dirt.
Sometimes, but I got to say, they have been impressing me tonight. Definitely been showing some really incredible moves, and certainly have been some fun stuff, but it's not over. And things could definitely fall apart, but let's cross our fingers that it doesn't go that way, as they wheel their way around for the second of the 3 last chance qualifiers. Can Borschinger somehow get himself into those transfer spots? Or actually, did Solomon grid up? I only see 8 trucks. I don't think he gridded up. Uh-oh. Well, it looks like, yes, he had a connection problem, so that is why. So he is going to be starting on the back foot. I mean, that's pretty much the death knell. I doubt he's going to be able to get through. We've seen weird things before, but I wouldn't put money on him being able to get to the features. The green flag is out, and this time it looks like Bolson doesn't have the best of starts, and leaning on the side of him, Honea almost nudges him off the track, but gives him just enough space. Now they swing into the left-hander, and it's a challenge for third, as well as Brian has Bolson up the Magashik up the inside.
Yeah, Magashik with a nice move there, as he just thought, that was what we've seen so many times early on. Fortunately, Magashik had early on problems in his heat race. Now he's looking for redemption. And you can see Honea and Frank battling back a little bit deeper with Kirchner. But the true battle right now is watching these top 3 drivers. Only 2 of them out of those 3 that are breaking away right now are going to make it to the main event.
And right now on the inside, Bolson just holding him off. By timing and scoring was throwing me off. Borschinger now finally goes down to the bottom as they cut back 3 wide. That is a brilliant move by Magashik to take the lead, a 2 for 1.
Oh, man, beautiful move as he just left that door open and went right by him. Those guys were worrying about nose-to-tail battles. When you leave the door open like that, it's going to bite you.
Bolson still in second. Truman now has got to try and overtake somebody unless he wants to be done for the night. Oh, and behind them, someone faced the wrong way. It almost looked like that was Brian Honea, who's had a horrible start to this race. He's going to get overtaken by Kirchner as well. And we head back to that battle for P2. Last chance to get through. Austin holds the cards.
Yeah, Bolson really just trying to get into a protective mode. These guys are moving it out there. You can see McGurchick is just walking away now. He got through these guys. Nothing's going to hold him back. But Bolson and Truman, this is where the battle's going to be. You can see the Truman looking up the inside there, laying on him a little bit. Not going to be enough, though.
Carries on side by side down onto the landing. They keep it together. It switches sides, though. A right-hander on this one. Truman round the outside, holding tough. It switches back once again, but the banking is the place to be in that left-hander, and that allows Bolson to pull away. Now they've got more company. It's Ryan Lindner who has caught them up. And I was going to say, we thought Brock was impressive. Magashik went up 6 positions to lead this race.
Yeah, that was just mind-blowing how you just saw that. You just saw that light at the end of the tunnel, and he just made his way through it.
Linder also doing excellent, up 5 since where he started. Granted, one of them was Borschinger, who did not start this race, so I guess you could realistically call it 4 spots that he gained. Even still, this has really been some impressive stuff as Bolson heads over the jump with Truman hot on his heels, not willing to give up quite yet.
No, he's not. He's just going to keep it rolling. We still got 2 laps to go here. We haven't seen the white flag.
That's a good point. About a lap and a quarter, I guess you could say, at this stage left to go. But Cameron with good control of this race. A look down the inside. That was almost desperation from James.
Yeah, he was good to get on the binders there because he would have taken him out there. Bolson would have not been happy if he got in his door that way. Beautiful line there. Just unfortunately with that early mistake he made, he's lost a lot of momentum. There it is, the white flag.
1 to go now. He's trying everything he can, but James having difficulty and managing to actually make the overtake. The attempts are there, but nothing doing quite yet. This is to decide who races on tonight and who doesn't. And behind them, they have started to drop Joey Herbie, who's since passed Lindner. Not sure how that changed positions between them. Is looking a little bit more comfortable for the 25 now.
Oh, yeah, but I'll tell you, Bolson. Oh, just as you say that, he gets leaned on a little bit by Truman.
Yeah, deep into the corner there by James, but it didn't work in the end. Once again, he loses the ground on corner exit. And Joey Herbie, I'm not sure if he's really going to have much to say about this. You can see that white truck in the background at times starting to creep up on them.
Yeah, Truman's starting to drive a little frustrated at this point, and he's getting out of control there. That truck's flicking left, right, and it doesn't look like he's got that momentum that he needs.
Meanwhile, Cameron Magashik will take the win in the last chance qualifier. Austin Bolson will finish in second, and Truman will be done as he finishes up for the night. Everybody else also will not be seen anymore this evening as we will head off to the warm-up here in a bit. Excuse me, we actually have one more to go, I think, before we are done. Yes, indeed. So one more of our last chance qualifiers. I lost track of which one we were on. Tommy Donahue is going to be on the pole for this one, and Trey Blank will be starting to his outside. Dennis Crosby will be starting P3, and Patrick Sawilo in 4th. Jake Hill will be 5th, and Robert Kahn in 6th. And it's Richard Swavely 7th, Lance Elkins 8th, and Paul Mikolajic starting in 9th. Jason Bryant will round out your 10 trucks in this one. Same as before, as it's only 2 that will go on. And they take off on their way with Donahue at the front of the field.
Definitely, a lot of the LCQs to get into this makes it a little bit tougher for these drivers. Where in fact, in the past we've had one big LCQ and we transfer a lot more. Well, now you got to fight your way there again. You get more racing. I really like that.
It certainly is. It does make it fun. It makes sure that, it's not over immediately. The drivers get more opportunities to try and prove themselves as well. If you've been kind of hard done by, I mean, we saw that with Brock too in his race. He kept that never say die attitude, and it paid off in the end. Also understand that we have a view from Sawilo on this one, who's starting from the 4th position. We'll have to check in with him during the race to see what his perspective is like as we come into the left-hander. Such a unique corner, this one, turn 10, with that banking around the outside, sort of kind of making it high line dominant, if you will. But it certainly made drivers get creative in their passing as the green flag comes out, and it's a late start from Donahue. He'll get it going eventually, but he almost lost the lead right at the beginning to Trey Blank.
It looked like he was almost trying to make a little bit of game out of it there when he came into it. Oh, a couple drivers off into the center field there.
That was Donahue. That was our leader.
Donahue. Oh, no.
So Elkins also went off. Donahue goes back to 9th. Blank is now your leader. Crosby gets promoted up into 2nd. Sawilo, our camera car, is now up into 3rd.
Yeah, it looked like I saw Jake Hill was riding that outside wall. He got pushed up high there in that 170. He's back in 6th. But Blank, right place, right time, and he was able to capitalize on what happened to our leader there with Donahue and Elkins.
Sawilo's had a bad couple corners, lost about 2 positions in 2 turns right there as we check in with him now, and all the handwork that has to go on with this. You saw away at things and then have to also get one hand off to try and get through the gears.
Yeah, you can see he's trying to bang through there.
They come through 10, 11, and 12 now. Long left-hander leans on the inside. Can't quite find a gap through Kahn, who cuts him off as they continue on into lap 2. Blank and Crosby, still your drivers, advancing through. Mika Logic as well, 6 positions gained in 1 lap. He's now into 3rd as we got a battle for the lead, actually.
Side by side, door to door. Here we go. Blank and Crosby. Crosby looking up on the inside there. Blank in the bright red machine. And it looks like we're going to get some switching around with these guys. Wow.
Yeah, Crosby takes it. Blank now in the trouble zone as Mika Logic, clearly a fast car right now, has gained enough spots that he could try and make a pass. In fact, he's going to try right away. He gets to the inside of the 947, shoves him out of the way and says, P2 for me, thank you.
Oh, yeah, definitely a beautiful move there. We've seen it so many times through that turn there. The left-hander off the wall, slided up the inside.
Whoa!
Oh, there was contact. That fender just flipped right up. Yeah, it looks like he got the super glue and got it right back down.
I think Blank maybe had a mistake or something because he came across the grass there for a second, and that's why he got into the side of the 77, but everybody was able to get away with it, and now Paul is already looking to see if he can demote Crosby from the lead.
Yeah, Crosby's going to definitely get in defensive mode, which could slow him down a little bit, and Mika Logic's been looking really quick. Unfortunately, what happened in the heat races to him early on, but now back in his rhythm.
It is.
I believe, what, he's 2nd in points?
Yeah, and that's a good point. Yeah, he's got a lot to fight for, a lot to think about here. But it's been a couple of Cinderella stories that we've been witnessing so far in these last chance qualifiers. Mika Logic going to be the latest of that as he comes back across and tries the same move again. Can he actually make it happen? It looks like he will.
Yeah, we'll be set up, though. They go into the right left-hander and then a right-hander again. Beautiful move by Paul Mika Logic.
Impressive stuff. That gets him the lead. So Dennis is on the cusp in 2nd place with Trey still behind him. Has to watch out. Trey could try and get his way back up into the transfer spots, but we're coming to the white flag. It's going to be now or never time.
Well, you got to push it at this point right here. The last LCQ, the B main, going to set the field here. Mika Logic, Crosby, Blank. 1 step off. Crosby, though, on the bubble.
Here's the amazing thing. With all the fighting that these top drivers have been doing, they still run away from 4th on back. They are nowhere close to them. So we see them all hop over the jumps through the S's and into the big one here that leads you into turn 6. As they all get onto the binders, you can see the 77 trying to tuck it down nice and tight into the apex. Crosby, so far, unable to do anything to catch back up to Paul, but the good news is for him that Blank has likewise not been able to gain the ground.
Yeah, we're looking about a second back there. Blank to Crosby, though, 3 seconds back to Bryant. But, you know, Mikolajic's already stretched it out here. Minute 2, 1.2 seconds. About a second. Which is a blink in an eye with a mistake.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a good point, but it's no time left for anybody because Mikolajic is to the win. 8 positions from almost the very back to take the win. Crosby second, and Trey Blank is out of it for now. Everybody else behind Bryant, Kahn, Sawilo come across the line knowing that this is the end of the night, it's the end of the road for them. Swavely, Hill, Donahue, and Elkins as well. Also going to wrap it up, head to the stands, and watch the feature with the rest of the fans. Well, these were some fantastic last chance qualifiers. We're not quite getting to the feature yet as we let the last of our drivers wrap it up. This is Lance Elkins, who is the final car coming to the checkered flag now, 10th on the field. And we're going to be watching the warm-up in a little bit. Double checking to see if we have a break to head off to here for our director before we actually get to the coverage of our feature. We do have a replay from Donahue we're hearing. Let's take a look at what happened to Donahue.
Oh, there it is.
Another bad landing, it looks like. And this is him at the start going from the pole. Oh, man. It's almost like he forgot which way the course went. He just kind of veered off.
Yeah, right turn, Clyde.
Well, it's got to be disappointing, especially considering he started at the top and finished 9th. Actually, the reverse of what Paul Mikolajic did, interestingly. But at least he was able to get to that LCQ and start from a pretty high position as we see them take off on the warm-up here. This is just a real quick 5 minutes before they grid up for the feature race, which will include the competition caution and its own regrid. It is going to be the top 8 now inverted on this one with a much bigger field, so that will change things dramatically. But Dave, what's your big takeaways so far from all the heats and all the LCQs? Anything that really sticks out in your mind?
Really seeing the damage, is these drivers are driving smart, and that's what you got to do in this. And I think we're going to take some notes where we've seen the pass there coming off that start, turn 2, and that left-hander, playing it off that bank has been the key. And I expect a lot of that to be taken advantage in the main event.
I'm sure they're all watching that carefully themselves as well. And double checking to see if the track does carry over. And it looks like it will not. It has been changed slightly to moderate usage, and then it'll carry over from the warm-up. So that sets it about 50%. Yeah, and yeah, it'll be worn in, but it's not worn out. We watch the likes of Solo
little
here.
Broadcasters real quick.
Okay, well, we'll let Dave do that while the drivers get their last little acclimation. Obviously, those who were in the very first heat that advanced are not familiar with how this will race at all. It has changed, so it is new to everybody, but they had a pretty much completely fresh track there for theirs after the qualifying. And now they have to try and feel out how it is different, what they need to do to adjust their lines and try and make sure that they continue to be quick. Solo using a lot of that banking up through 10 and 11 here. And then you swing on around to come over the tabletop here at the start finish line. For what it's worth, I know It's just practice, so it doesn't mean a whole lot. Kody Winiecki is actually fastest once again here at the top of this warm-up by about 0.6 of a second. Pretty quick over Oliver Golding right now. So he's certainly looking like he's still got this well under control and showing why he's leading the championship. Mikolajic, though, is going to have to come from way back in the field. Remember, the last chance qualifier, he won, so I believe he'll start from second to last on this, or close to that, and have to fight his way through. And the winner of the first race is going to be regrid at 8th position. I have to go back because it's been so long. And that is going to be Daniel Solo, who is going to be starting from that 8th spot on that regrid. So he'll have to try and push his way, elbow his way past a few people if he wants to get back up to the front. But they will have more laps to do it, is the good news, because this feature will be 12 laps. Like I was saying before, it's a little bit of a longer lap around this track. So it's not nearly as many as what we see at places such as Wild Horse or Wild West.
Well, I think that's a good point you brought up there about the length of the track there. It really changes the dynamics of how you race.
That's a good point. Yeah, fewer corners, that fewer times that you go by those passing positions around the lap. And we've got our grid ready, so let's go through our starting order. Oliver Golding will start it from the pole, and we saw what he could do before when he started up towards the top. Aiden Irvin will be in second. Keenan Kusin will start from P3. Cross Kirchmeier starts fourth today, as Colton Buchanan will be in P5, and Cole Fisher starts sixth. Kody Winiecki will be P7. As we mentioned, Daniel Solo is regrid to eighth. Nick Queen then starts in ninth, and the top 10 rounded out by Thad Countryman. We go to the next slide, and it is Brock Hammer starting in 11th. You've got Doug Betts in 12th and Christian Noble 13th. Cameron Magashik starts 14th. Paul Mikolajic, 15th position. Remember, he's second in the points, trying to chase down Kody Winiecki. Then Brock Smith in 16th, Austin Bolson 17th, and Dennis Crosby, tail end Charlie in 18th. You mentioned this earlier, Dave. Way more trucks than what we saw before.
Yeah.
This is going to be a madhouse.
Oh, it's going to get busy out there, I'll tell you. I think we're going to see the damage really come into play in the main event here. 12 laps, 12 times by that one corner. We've seen all the passes pretty much happen in that left-hander. It's going to be interesting. And who is going to keep their suspension intact through this race?
Something we haven't mentioned that all the beating and banging and leaning on. If they reach 18 incident points, and they get 2 incident points per car contact with one another, if it's hard enough car contact, that means that only 9 times, and you're going to be given a drive-through penalty. 24, you're actually given a disqualification. And this is a long enough race that now it's actually worth worrying about, as the green flag is out for the feature, and Golding gets a decent jump. They come up over the right-hander now, and Kusin is going to get to the inside of Aiden Irvin. Can he finish it up as now they swing back to the left-hander?
Yeah, Golding, though, has got a great jump out there. Golding is a very talented young driver in real life. He's got a championship under his belt in the UTV class and the production turbos. Pro 4's a whole nother animal out there, but he's used to four-wheel drive, so he knows how to make these things drive.
He's slipping back a little bit now, unfortunately. Irvin up and over the jump and to his outside. It's going to be Buchanan trying to moat him yet another one. This is kind of the calamity corner of this track as they all slide into 6, but it looks like they're able to hold it well, and I'm not seeing anybody getting flipped over or turned around. Still plenty of body work flying as they lean on each other, and whoa, my goodness, Irvin almost leaning too hard to the side up over the jump.
Well, with this many trucks out there, I know it's going to get physical. And I know that one turn, everybody said, okay, I saw 3 guys going for the inside. So only one's going to fit.
Kirchmeier got a little loose there. You can see him falling off the top 2 as we got a battle behind him between Buchanan, Winiecki, and Irvin. Kody's up 2 spots from the start of this race. Irvin down 4. they make a little bit of contact and now swing back into the left-hander. Kody down the inside. We saw him do this all the time before, and his favorite move gets executed again.
Yeah, Winiecki with a beautiful thought there. But you got to make sure you don't want to get off track there and get those penalties you talked about. That could really mess up your day for sure. Loving the shot there with the jackalope.
You know, I didn't notice that until now. That's a great point. A little good luck charm for him out there. And as they chase down into turn 7 once again, side by side between Cole Fisher and Kody Winiecki. Kody to the inside of Cole, who we ride on board with as they leap over the jump and head down to turn 9, switching back to this long right-hander. Kody way around the outside.
Yeah, he's taking the long way on this one there. Fisher able to try to get back under there, but nice move by Winiecki. Slams it off, plays it off the wall, and able to stop that position with the 259 of Irvin with a good move to the outside there, coming around on Fisher now.
Fantastic stuff. So Irvin gets at least one of his spots back. Kody still only up 2 from where he started. He's already about 4.5 seconds behind our leader, Golding. Where actually is
Buchanan with a wide line.
So, yeah, that's a long way around there. And as they come up into the S's, oh goodness, Buchanan, how did he keep that thing right side up?
Man, he was riding the bike there, coming through there. That was a nice way to put it back down there.
Somehow he's still on the rubber side of the car there as Buchanan is in 6 after that one. A little bit of side to side between Solo and Fisher. Fisher giving it as good as he gets as they come out of turn 7. It looks like Cole's going to hold on to P7.
Yeah, Fisher's trying to, tired of getting hit on there, so I think he's going to lean back a little bit now. That's the whole key. See Countryman there, great shot there as he's right in the middle of the mix, trying to fight up there on Solo. Great shot of Fisher coming across.
You know who's doing yeoman's work right now? Paul Mikolajic is up 4, and I haven't really noticed him all that much. It doesn't seem like he's making crazy moves, or none that have brought the cameras on him quite yet, but he's just kind of silently picking his way past.
Yeah, up 4 positions, you're right, and that's what I'm going to say. He's kind of like the silent assassin there right now. Looking on the inside, looking to put another pass on there. Oh, 2 for 1.
Almost, and back underneath. Doug Betts manages to get the throttle down and say, you're only getting 1 today. He still overtakes Countryman. In the meantime, he cuts back underneath once again over the jump. He'll have the inside as the truck goes off to the side. That's Solo. I wonder if he got a cut course penalty or something there that he had to slow down and give the time back. Meanwhile, Mikolajic is now going to once again get another spot very quickly on Doug Betts, and he is up to 8th.
He went around the long way on the outside that one. We've seen everybody make the pass on the inside. He took the outside line this time.
Amazing stuff from the 77. He went up 8 positions in the LCQ. He's already up 7 in the feature, and it's been 4 laps, so that about adds up. Pretty similar to what he was able to do last time. Now he's got a gap, though. Now he has to unleash the speed of that 77 just to catch up to Fisher.
Well, I think there's a lot of strategy coming into the comp caution, too. The halfway point, we're going to see the second half of the race. I know it's going to really change things up. Watching Winiecki, the way he's moved up through it, and Mikolajic, I think we're going to have a top 5 battle there. But Golding, he's got 1.8, 1.9, 2 seconds almost between him and Kusin. Can he hold it on a restart is the question.
That's a good point. I had forgotten about that competition caution bunching everybody up. And it's going to be at the end of this lap, actually, that it will happen. So very, very soon, Mikolajic is going to find luck coming his way once again, as he will get bunched up to the back of Fisher and not have to chase him down. Golding, though, just about ready to finish this last lap before the yellow emerges. And the 70 has been running away from Kusin up at the front.
Ross Kirchmeier, though, doing a great job holding off Winiecki right now. The 75 of Kirchmeier, of course, 9 of Winiecki. Great move coming around there. Pretty much now you got to say, okay, that's it. Here we go. Second half of the race, this is when you start pushing it.
Absolutely. So yellow flag, and everybody gets bunched up. In fact, I believe we've got a radio channel with the 03 here. of Keenan Kusin, our second place driver. Let's see if we can maybe have a chat with Keenan about how he feels this race has been going. Keenan, second place, although it looked like you were losing touch with Oliver a bit up there. What are your thoughts on this second half? Do you have anything to try and steal the win?
Just keep it clean. He made a big mistake there going on in the chicane, bumped off the thing, and then I tried too hard to get around him. I think if I would have been a little bit smarter, I could have gave him the door. He is the quicker driver, but I think he's been making more mistakes. So I'm just going to focus on holding the podium, and then after a lap or two, if there's no pressure behind, we'll try and go get that win.
Now, we've been seeing a lot of moves in turn two, that long left-hander, especially from Kody Winiecki. Are you going to be watching your mirrors if he gets close to you there?
Watching mirror every corner entry, especially with how these dudes have been driving tonight and how this new damage model, if you leave them a gap, they'll take it. So I don't even care if I'm a second a lap slower. If I can keep the door closed, we're going to be in a good shot.
Well, excellent run on this one, Keenan. Thanks for chatting us briefly, and best of luck.
Yeah, all to see at the end.
So Keenan Kusin, who is going to be trying to take the win away from Oliver Golding here on the restart. We'll see if he's able to do that as they all get bunched up and
Nose to tail.
Yeah.
Makes for an interesting restart.
So single file. And I don't think, I believe we didn't have anybody go a lap down. So usually they use this time to try and wave around anybody who loses a lap, but it looks like everybody stayed on it today.
Yeah, that's kind of nice. Usually I seem to be trying to race to try and tag the back of the field before that green flag drops.
So as they come around, remember the start on this restart is different. Should see them accelerate away here at this gantry. And there it is. Good start from Oliver Golding. And as he takes off, my timing and scoring is showing a little bit different from what we've got on the tower, as Kusin is showing the lead on mine, but I'm pretty sure as our tower shows, Golding is still our leader.
Yeah, the black and red number 70, you can definitely identify there. But you see 75 Kirchmeier looking up the inside of Kusin now. Gonna lean on him there. Oh, look at this. Winiecki getting in the mix here too.
Yeah, he's trying to see if he can take this one away. Kody is dangerous into this corner, and there he goes, cutting underneath, set it up beautifully. And Keenan said he'd be watching the mirrors. He's trying to close down to keep him off of there, but Kirchmeier couldn't keep him back. Kody is now onto the podium.
Yeah, Winiecki with a beautiful move there, and of course I could think Kirchmeier is going to be going, all right, let's see if we can go back around the next lap and see if he can still make that happen. But Mikolajic's one I'm going to keep watch on right now. The number 7, can he creep his way up? Now, can anybody take Golding? That's going to be the big question. Golding already 1.1, 1.9, 1.11. It's bouncing around. He's got the lead. Everybody's fighting behind him. It slows him down.
In fact, Keenan's under attack already. Cody's not going to sit around. He's managed to get to the outside. We've seen this not work as well in the past down to the inside, but he cuts underneath just in time. Look at that, Keenan Kusin managing to get the over-under. Oh, but he doesn't have the traction. Cody's now into P2.
A beautiful move there with Winiecki as he moves around. Kusin, now he's starting to go, okay, I got to drive a little bit quicker there. Great shot there. We can see those guys battling up front. You can see Golding, though. He's got a big gap up there.
Absolutely. He's trying to use it as best he can. I'm willing to bet you Golding kind of knows what's at stake here, and he wasn't going to dilly-dally. As soon as Kody caught second place, I think he figured I have to boogie or else he's going to be passing me too.
Oh, absolutely. And I know he wants to keep one of those drivers, though. Now he's got Winiecki. Winiecki's so fast. Now he doesn't have, he's got a little bit of gap. He's got a little bit of breathing room. Now he can focus on Golding. I think Kusin's not going to be as, too much in his head right now. Kirchmeier, his sight's set on Kusin, but Kusin's running a great race. I got to say, his lines look very clean.
I agree. Third place, still something to be proud of here on this one. If he can hold on to it all the way to the end. As they swing around now 10, 11, and 12. Kody is starting to gain. This last lap for him was a 1:10.6. Golding a 1:11.5.
No, that's almost a second, coming up. You add those numbers up.
He is gobbling it up. It's going to be difficult for Oliver to try and keep hold of this one. And I'm seeing Paul Mikulajic grayed out for some reason. I'm not sure why. Wonder if he had another connection problem or if he found himself... Oh, no, he ran into the gantry of the start-finish line.
Man.
Oh,
now,
God.
One thing I've been watching, Kusin really gets on the binders early in some of those turns, and Winiecki's able to, you know, get up to him. Or, I'm sorry, Kirchmeyer's here. Look at this. Oh, man. He actually got on the binders to back off so he didn't have contact with Golding. Very smart. But Golding now has got to realize he's got to run a little bit quicker. And Kirchmeyer got by Kusin there, moves up into third. Kusin, you know, back and forth there. Winiecki.
Certainly looking like things are swapping around now. And indeed, yeah, Winiecki is putting the pressure on Golding. Hasn't found his way past quite yet. And they are far away from Kirchmeyer at this stage. So it's an easy two-car battle here at the end as it stands now. Just ghosts him, follows him around the S's and up and over the jump, following his every move, staying in the tire tracks, waiting for the right time. It's going to be 2 to go, though, when they hit the line this next time by, so he doesn't have long.
I think Winiecki's going to start treating this like a heat race, like he thought now. Okay, we're in that mode. Now 3 laps to go. Got to push it. Try and force Golding into a mistake.
He's sticking with him. He's keeping himself in contention. Yeah, he was starting to lean on the back bumper there, just trying to see if he could push him through the corner, unsettle him a little bit.
Look at the inside.
He's got it. He's got the inside line up through the final turn, but he doesn't have the grip off the corner. That goes to Golding. Down to 2 laps to go now. Golding holding on by a thread. Can he keep our points leader behind him? Oliver also 4th in the points, a little bit farther back in this one. In fact, he's, he's about more than 25 points behind, something like 45 points behind our leader right now. So he needs this if he has any hopes of catching him in the championship. He needs to beat him and start taking some. And he's actually pulling away now.
Yeah, you got to wonder what mistakes I think Winiecki's trying to reset. Now with 2 laps to go, he'll get another run-up on him, I'm sure.
Sure he'll get the opportunities, but it's starting to look like maybe Oliver Golding could take his first win of the season. We've had 2 different winners in the first 2 rounds. Can we make it a 3 for 3 as he comes around turn 9?
Yeah, you can see this track. It really slow through that corner there. Golding with a beautiful line through there. Winiecki really pushing it now. He's trying to get a run. White flag. Here we go.
Seems like Kody is struggling, though.
Yeah.
Considering he was about a second faster at one point as he leaps and nearly rolls the car. He gets it back on its feet, though. I wonder maybe if he got a bit of damage and it's not handling right.
That's what I was starting to think. I wonder if there's something wrong with that truck. You know, the tires going away, a little bit of damage there. I mean, it looks like suspension's sucking everything up, right? I don't think it's a suspension thing.
Yeah, if it is, it must be something very minor that's just kind of eating up his pace a little bit. Golding with the top spot here on the white flag lap has a handy gap behind him now at this stage. It's looking very comfortable. He's just got 3 more corners to go, essentially, here, and Kody is nowhere to be seen. Unfortunately, about 3 or 4 truck lengths behind him. Oliver Golding, who started this one on the pole with a regrid, knew that he was going to have hard work in front of him, but he was willing to put in the elbow grease, and Oliver Golding is our 3rd different winner in 3 races.
Big congratulations to him, though. Kody Winiecki. Got to say hats off to him, but I'm so curious to find out what was going on those last 2 laps.
I do hope we get to talk to him and ask why. Yeah, what cost him the pace there at the end. Kirchmeyer with a bit more of a quiet 3rd place comparatively. He did beat out Kusin, who unfortunately was not able to hold on to those champagne positions Aiden Irvin also eventually slipped back to the 5th spot. I think that is going to take us to the results of this one. And here you can see Oliver Golding, unofficially your winner, with Kody Winiecki now in 2nd, and Kirchmeier rounding out your podium positions. Keenan Cusin, still a great race out there, considering the talent he is up against in this one. He's really proven himself lately. And Aiden Irvin was 5th behind him. Colton Buchanan was P6. Is Cole Fisher, who was in quite a few battles we didn't get to cover because it was so hot up front. He finished 7th. Daniel Solo eventually claimed 8th today. Brock Hammer was 9th, and Doug Betts finished in 10th. And it was the other Brock Smith, finishing 11th. Gain of 5 for him. Not too bad. Christian Noble was 12th, and Austin Bolson 13th. Then Thad Countryman finished P14, last one on the lead lap. Dennis Crosby was 15th. Nick Queen, 2 laps down in 16th. Magashik, I believe, was a DNF along with Paul Mikolajic at the tail end. In the end, I think we've got Oliver Golding ready to talk to us now. And this is apparently his first career win in the iRacing Short Course Series. So, Oliver, congratulations for finally breaking that duck. How nervous were you leading this race from the pole?
I mean, I got super lucky with the invert. I felt confident I could get a podium even if I did start 8th. But I just kept looking at my relative, and by the midway point, I noticed I was kind of gapping, but I saw Kody climbing the rankings, and I knew he was gonna be on my butt. Probably on the second end of the race, and lo and behold, he was only probably 2/10 behind me at one point, and I think he got a slowdown penalty. But it's pretty cool to get my first sim win. I haven't won anything all year in real life, so it's cool to finally win something. But Mason Prater, who's been doing a little bit of sim time with me, he's texting me, just losing his mind. So cool to have him watching. But no, it was a good race. Everybody drove clean. Really good battles there at the end, and happy to bring home a win.
You mentioned the championship leader was gaining on you hand over fist there late in the race, and then suddenly he fell off. Were you baffled by that? We were trying to figure out the mystery of why he stopped catching you.
I probably wouldn't use the word baffled. I'd probably say relieved. I thought he just made a mistake. I didn't know what happened. All I knew is he went from 0.2 to 1.2, so I knew I had to get going. No, but I mean, I'm just kind of at a loss for words. I didn't think I'd actually win this, but I'm not that good at this place, so I didn't think I'd actually win at this track. But we'll take it.
Well, from the huge, big jumps and the long straights, we head to Wild Horse Pass with a tiny little bull ring. Can you at least get yourself another podium, if not another win?
I mean, we'll try. I think it helps our point situation a little bit, especially with a 10-point penalty I got last week with some controversial contact. But no, I mean, I want to try to do the best I can. I know Cody's got a pretty good firm grip on the points lead. So, I mean, if we could finish top 3 in points for my first year actually on a sim rig and not on a controller, I'm happy with how I'm doing. I want to thank the Sage family. They're letting me use their sim, and hopefully they'll let me buy it from them. All my sponsors that have helped me out in real life through this year. Victory Air and Heat Conditioning being the main one, the Bishop family. Anybody else that helps out, really appreciate it. Thank you to Connor for all the days he used to play with me in the past, getting me experience and seat time. And thank you guys for announcing and doing such a great job with the series. And I can't wait to see what next week holds. I believe we're racing next week.
Yep, that's going to be at Wild Horse Pass. Congratulations, Oliver. Sounds like you made a good argument for buying that sim with that win tonight, as that was our victor. The number 70 is up next. After that, I believe we've got Dave talking to Kody Winiecki to see if we can solve the mystery.
Well, Kody, before we get to the big question or the 800-pound gorilla in the room, we're going to talk a little bit about your heat race there and, making your way up through there. It's that left-hander seemed to be your friend. Were you thinking that coming into the main event?
Actually, that's my worst fear is on this track is that jump right there, and for some reason tonight it worked amazing for me.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. It seemed like that was there. You almost got 2 for 1 a few times there.
Oh yeah, I was definitely pushing it.
All right, well, let's talk about this. You get up there, now you make your way up to second place in the main event. You got Oliver Golding in front of you. You're in there, you're battling. You're leaning on him. You're right there. A couple times looked like, I don't know if he got on the binders, brake checked you. Yeah, you had to back off so you didn't have contact. Was that getting a little frustrating?
No, I actually cut the course too much, and it gave me like a 2.2
Oh,
and a half second penalty. So I was trying to clear that the whole time.
so that's why you backed off so much from it, because you guys were right there battling, and we're watching it right now. You can see you were right on his bumper each time, and then all of a sudden, bam, where'd Kody go?
Yeah, I was trying to put on a good show, but that set me back a few seconds, and I was Church My Art thought he was gonna get me, but good thing I got it cleared in time, and last lap I was catching back up to Oliver, but it was a good night.
Well, with the season now, with 1 round to go here in the points lead, there's a lot on your mind, thinking about going into Wild Horse Pass.
Wild Horse is tight and technical. That's kind of what I like. Just a bunch of trucks next to each other, but as long as we finish, that's all I care about for the points. With the new model update, supposedly you can rip off tires now, so you got to be a little more easier with the other drivers, and that's what makes it more competitive.
Yeah, especially going there. I mean, you really have 90 degrees coming back. Turn number 3 is always interesting there. And you're going to have to watch out for the damage, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Well, you'd like to thank anybody who's helped you out in the season here. And I got to say congratulations on second position.
Thank you very much. I'd like to thank you guys for the awesome broadcast. All the drivers for putting on a good show. Without the drivers, there wouldn't be a broadcast. So thanks to them as well. Winiecki Motorsports, MRT Teamsters, MFR Off Road, Top Box Racing, my fiance for letting me come out and race tonight. And thank you guys.
Well, right on. Congratulations, Kody. I got to say, looking forward to see how you do in Wild Horse. And I do believe we got third place standing by, Kirchmeyer.
Indeed, Cross Kirchmeyer. The limelight for him was kind of stolen by that battle for the lead there at the end. Cross, it looked like they kind of ran away from you in those final few laps. Just could you not keep up?
Man, I had trouble with one of the very final corners. I kept making a little bit of mistake. Kept getting afraid of a track cut penalty, so I kept having to check up, and it was costing me tenths every time.
You and Keenan had a good battle as well for that third position. Once you were able to overtake him, you didn't give it back. Did you feel pretty solid that the third was the least you could do today once you got that pass done?
Yeah, I mean, I felt really good. Did a lot of practice on this track. Recently had some help from a team, Minuteman Racing, really got me up in shape for this race, and helping fit them and Dane Culver. We really put in a lot of work on this track.
The other thing that's new is iRacing's latest build included the new damage model for the trucks. How's it feel? Has it changed anything? We noticed it felt like there was maybe a few cases of people damaging the suspension a little bit easier. Has it changed that?
It definitely the trucks feel more brittle. They don't drive that differently, but little edges, even like the dirt edges that before didn't really matter, can give you wheel damage and things like that. So definitely changes how you need to drive them to make it to the finish line.
Well, we'll keep that in mind then, because we were wondering how much it had changed things from within the truck. It's really fascinating stuff. And again, congratulations on a podium tonight.
Thank you very much.
It's Cross Kirchmeyer, who finished third. And I believe that's going to wrap up our interviews as well as the show. As we mentioned, don't forget to join us at Wild Horse Pass on December 14th at 9 p.m. Eastern. So we'll be back in only a week's time. And a big thank you to the organizers at the iRacing Short Course Series, as well as a huge thanks to our team tonight, Dave and Zach and Cameron. Thank you so much for watching tonight's broadcast of the iRacing Short Course Regional Series. I'm Joe Peak, and I'll see you on the track.